Good evening. I'm John Grant. I'm the president of GSX Ventures, and I am the developer of the assisted living project at Bay Village, the Bay Village Assisted and Independent Living Facilities. And I'm also the developer of a project which I want to share with you tonight, which is a project that happens on the adjacent lot. It is a project that goes hand in hand with assisted living, and that project is Bay Village Suites, which is an independent living facility which looks at a different, more mobile population than assisted living. To give you some background, first of all, we need to talk a little bit about Bay Village and the purpose behind Bay Village and what Bay Village Suites is all about. So I want to take you first to this site plan and orient you. Basically, all of you are familiar with Bay Ridge Road. This is the intersection of Bay Ridge Road and Edgewood Road. You're probably familiar with the 7-Eleven there. This is the intersection of Georgetown Road and Bay Ridge Road. You're probably familiar with the Bank of America here, and I guess it's Wells Fargo here. And then across from us is the big giant shopping center. Currently, there are a couple of older houses here that are in disrepair. These houses will be demoed and become part of the Lidl project, which is a shopping center that's being developed adjacent to our project. On this side, at the intersection with Edgewood Road, you have a Starbucks, you have a CVS, which I'm sure you're all aware of, and then as you drive down Edgewood Road into Bay Village Road, you'll see the brand new assisted living, which is under construction and which should be open in October of this year. This project is designed to work with seniors who have special needs and who are not capable of living by themselves. They have at least 7 activities of daily life every day that they need assistance with. So this facility is really for people who aren't driving, who are receiving care and probably are mobile but not driving vehicles and things like that. And in this facility, they receive some rudimentary health care, grooming care, and also they're fed, there's activities, and they receive all their laundry and their room cleaning and things like that from the facility. This is sort of a later iteration, and this is a rental facility, so you only need this facility when you need it. So if you're living in your house and you're with home health care and you're fine, you can stay there until the day that you need it, and then you can come and apply and find a space at this assisted living and live the remainder of your life here very comfortably. There's also a memory care unit on the one side here, which is for seniors that have issues with dementia. Next to the Starbucks, the site that we're looking at here not only entails the empty site with a large tree, and that's a champion oak tree there that is pretty phenomenal. It's up about 6 stories in the sky, and also we have acquired the Spectrum sales building as well, which we're folding into this site. So it makes the site much bigger and allows us to bring the building down to 3 stories in total height. So that allowed us to bring the building down. The buildings that we're proposing leaves the tree in place and leaves a 20-foot setback for the ball root of the tree so that the tree can thrive. And we'll show you a little bit more about how that fits into the plan of our project. But it's important to realize that we're only going to cover about 40% of the site with building. The rest of it all be green space. The other thing that's important to realize is that all the parking and all the traffic for the facility happens off of Bay Ridge Road, and the parking is under the facility. So there's nothing happening in terms of parking from Bay Ridge except a drop-off point for a shuttle bus and for deliveries and maybe pick up for Uber at the front drop-off, which is the same drop-off that's there right now for the Spectrum sales drive. But all the parking, there's 100 parking spaces under the building, and there's 14 additional guest spaces down here, and that all happens off of Bay Ridge, Bay Village Drive. Bay Village Drive, we're actually made an agreement today to connect up to the Lytle Shopping Center, so that right now we can actually have a connection through the parking lot of the Lytle Shopping Center to the intersection with Georgetown Road, and that one will travel all the way across and connect the intersection at Edgewood Road. So we've unified both traffic lights so that you can go either way. And that will relieve the traffic either way, depending on what's going on. It should really solve a lot of problems in terms of traffic getting on and off site. You can also go through, and if you're going down Bay Ridge, you can go over here and make a right-hand turn out of the CVS parking lot and go down towards Arundel on the Bay Road and everything else. And so, where I used to live down in Watergate, all that traffic can sort of flow through there without even going through that stoplight. Anyway, first of all, I want to discuss a little bit with you about what independent living is, because I think there's a lot of misnomers about that. Independent living is focused on seniors in their late 80s, and these are seniors who are mostly active. They may still have a car, but they really don't use the car except once a week. They are socially in need of connection, and so there's dining, and 2 meals a day are served in the facility, and they also get all their laundry services and their suite cleaning done by the facility. So there's also some other services that will be provided. There'll be a provision for someone who will coordinate their home health care. So if they do have a home health care person that comes in and gives them insulin or other things, they will essentially have that on site. But as far as it goes, beyond the social aspects of it and the cleaning and helping coordinate those things, there is an activities director, and there will be a activities bus here that will take you to events. And as we talked with the community, they had asked if we would provide additional passes for the dining room so that members of the community, senior members of the community, could buy a monthly pass for using the dining room. And we are going to set up 50 monthly passes for people from the community that want to do that. We are going to work with the communities, all the senior communities around us, to try and link up a bus service to circulate, because we'll have a bus here and we'll have a bus at the assisted living, and we'll probably have a number of shuttle vehicles to take people to their medical appointments and things like that, which further reduces any traffic from them and getting them off the road. We did a traffic study for this facility. It generates less than 150 trips a day, and practically none of them are peak because all of the people who work here will arrive at 6 a.m. and leave at 4. So it's all off-peak travel, except for when a resident may want to go out at 5 o'clock or have some reason to get up and get out at 9 or 8. The odds of that happening were in the study, but they're pretty minimal. The nice part about the project is it is continuum of care. So a typical resident would be someone who's a widow or a widower who wants to be social and isn't a really good cook and may want to have someone help them clean. And as they age in place, they don't need the medical care, but they need some social supports, and they need some support from cooking and also nutrition. And I guess I can speak from my own experience. When my father got older, he was starting to cook soup and things like that. He didn't realize that he was starting to lose weight, and he didn't realize it because he wasn't eating with anyone. He didn't have anyone to cook for him. So it's important that these type of facilities exist because they take care of those people. They also provide them with wristbands in case they have an episode of some kind, and it's a good place for people to live. In any case, that should give you a pretty good idea of who's in here. The activities that they'll have in here will be mostly social activities. We have an arts room in here. We have a club room. We have a pub. There'll be quite a few things for them to do internally, and they'll also have the ability to go over to the assisted living and use the theater, use the art center, and use some of the other crafts rooms that we have at the assisted living. So both facilities will be managed and operated by the same group, and there'll be a continuum of management between these two facilities, so that if you're in our independent living facility and you want to go have dinner with your friend at the assisted living, you can actually just take your card and go over there and have dinner, and it goes back and forth. They can come over here, you can go over there. And there'll be a walkway connection, a strong walkway connection between these two buildings here. There's also an elevator at the back here that will take you back up through the building to the public access floor and to the public aspects of this. I want to turn a second now to this basement plan here, which is the back level plan. This is Bay Village Road back here, and this road will go through and into the Lidl site now. We've changed and adjusted the contours here to lift the road up by 4 feet, so it slides right into Lidl site and will go into their parking lot, and this connection then goes all the way through. This is the access point into our below grade garage. This is our receiving area here, elevators, and stair towers. Here's that tree, and our base of our building is 20 feet away from that root ball of the tree. We are hiring an arborist to work with us on outlining exactly where that ball needs to be, and we'll work with him to set up and stake that out. But we feel pretty confident we can establish a foundation. We're probably going to do we're going to sheet the foundation walls, which means you take a sheet of steel and drive it in, which creates a clean line separation so the dirt isn't disturbed on the other side, which is what we want to do, so that when you excavate the other side, it has no effect on the dirt. And in fact, as we recontour, we have a ring around this tree, so the level of earth on top of the tree base never will change from the way it is right now. So we kept that, sort of sacrosanct, because the tree is a very important part of our program. Starbucks is over here. This was the walk across the sidewalk that goes to the main entry to the assisted living, and that main entry to the assisted living is right up here. As I said, we see that the management of both will be the same, and there'll be a lot of interaction between those two. We have talked about a 24-hour concierge from the assisted living, so that if anyone pushes their button on their wrist bracelet in our facility, they'll have a nurse on the other side of it to take some issue and figure out what to do, whether to triage them or whether to call for emergency services to take care of them and take care of whatever condition they have. To give you an idea of what this looks like, we prepared some renderings, and I guess the one I'm going to show you first is this rendering, which looks at basically the tree. And actually, the tree is actually a little bit taller than this tree that we have depicted here. It's probably up to about here, but our building is 3 stories, and what we've done is we've taken the top floor of the building and put it into sort of a mansard roof, so that the roof line cuts back, and so the apparent height of the building is only 2 stories with a roof line. There's one piece that sticks up, which is a little marker, which is another octagon, like the octagon on our assisted living, which is sort of a signature piece. But for the most part, all these roofs are down, and the height to the top of that parapet of this thing is 39 feet. At least the average height of the parapet. The height of the top of that is 44 feet. So the little octagon, the little dome there, is the highest point, but that's sort of an architectural feature that we have. We're 34 feet back from the sidewalk, and the sidewalk's 12 feet back from the road, so it's suitably set back. The setback matches the setbacks on the CVS pharmacy and all these houses that were built here adjacent. That's what we call a historical setback line. And in the center of this whole collection, you've got this large courtyard. And so you have a piece of architecture here, you have a piece of architecture here, and So it's broken between this piece and this piece, so it's not a large wall facing the street. There's a piece here, there's a piece here, and this piece is even broken back here. And this courtyard then has the dining room, the pub, a private dining room, a parlor, game room, and a club room, as well as an arts and crafts center on this floor that all open out onto that patio. And that patio will also have rain gardens on it. Our civil engineer, Terry Schumann's here. He's the one that worked with us on our assisted living project and installed quite a few interesting rain guards. This will also be a LEED certified project, just like the one that we just finished, our assisted living project. So it's important to realize that we're trying to be good stewards of the tree and trying to create as much green space and also secure walkable space for seniors as possible. Anyway, going back to the project itself, if you get a chance to see the assisted living while it's under construction, there are some major materials and vocabularies that we use on the assisted living. There's a stone base, and we're using that stone base in this project. There's a shingle style above that, and we'll be using the same shingles, and we'll be also using the same roof shingles. So the two buildings will have the exact same coloration, exact same materials, so they'll be linked hand in hand back together. So when you look at these buildings, you'll see how they all relate to each other and that they're a part of a matched set, which creates more of a feeling of a neighborhood. And we will also do that with the sidewalks and the connection points and the lighting and things like that. One of the things that also is going to happen here, and I haven't shown any of these renderings because quite frankly, it's something that will be happening after we put this thing in. There's trees that belong on a tree lawn that the overall building, the overall project developer, Brigg, is going to provide as part of his city planting program. So there'll be a series of trees right out by the sidewalk that go all the way down the street that give you a screened wall, basically, that will, and here's another shot of that big space that cuts in. The trees will be all the way down across the face of this building. So you'll have a wall of trees there that further mask this. The roof is a flat roof. As I said, the roof level itself is at 34 feet. The ridge is at 39 because we had a parapet wall up above that hides any mechanical units or anything like that. And as far as it goes, this is about the exact same height, actually it's lower than the Gardens of Annapolis over here. The top of the ridge line of the Gardens of Annapolis is higher than the top of the point here. This point will be lower than the top of the point on the assisted living. So they'll all be within scale. And we were doing a little drive around looking at contextuality today, and there's a series of different places where you have 1-story, 2-story, and 3-story buildings, specifically off of Bay Ridge Road. Down by the Eastport Shopping Center, there's that condo right there, right across from the shopping center. And I guess they're building another 3-story building down there that was just approved. So the thing about villages like Annapolis is the idea of having a bunch of different building heights and massings is what makes the city interesting. The real thing about building good architecture is making the quality of the design and making the quality of the materials right, and also getting the landscaping right, which is really an important aspect in creating a really cohesive project. And that's one of the things we've been really good at, is making the landscaping right. We've really tried with our first project over here, as well as with this project, to create something that's really attractive and something that's very comfortable for people to walk around. And also, that front courtyard will be open to people who are walking to have a seat in the courtyard if they want to. There'll be some outdoor chairs and things like that in there as well. So pretty much that's what the project is all about. Why this location? Well, the location makes sense because it's next to the other senior project. It makes sense because from our aspect of what we think about senior living and where good senior living is, seniors do not want to be back in the woods somewhere. They want to be up where the retail is, where the action is. They want to be able to go to a Starbucks and get a cup of coffee, which we just happen to have one here. And they also want to be very accessible to their kids. And this makes it really easy for their kids when they go shopping at the Giant or do anything to stop in, park their car, see their parents, and then get in their car and go back without having to drive 10 miles, to General's Highway or somewhere else to do it. And the nice part about this is pretty much in the center of Annapolis. I mean, you're very close to everyone in Annapolis. So anyone who has a need in Annapolis, this would be a very easy place to go in and out of. And since it's all rental, you don't need to use it until you need to use it. And that's a really nice factor of this project as well. I think that some of the other aspects of this that really are coming about very nicely is the fact that that there are a lot of community benefits that accrue from this project. One of the community benefits, obviously, is that there's less traffic generated from this type of a project than any other type of retail or other office or other types of projects, because it is a seniors project and these seniors are much less mobile. There is no impact on our schools. There's a very small impact on our sewer and water. This is the most increase in taxable base. So in terms of taxes going back to the city with very limited impact on any of our services, and also a great influence on what we have in terms of senior care and what we can offer seniors here. I mean, it's really a win-win situation, because you've got all these senior facilities now. You'll probably have one of the best networks of senior facilities on a rental basis available anywhere. And a baseline, you're going to get tax money, and you're not going to have any school impacts, and you won't have any traffic impact. So we think this is a pretty good solution to why these projects are good, and why most groups and most communities, that they don't have something like this, and if there's a demand. And we've actually done a couple of market studies and seen there's tremendous demand for this project in this area. So we're very encouraged by that. And I think the final thing is that we've been able to finally create that connector between Lytle. And so we've done, I think, with what the community told us to do, which was to fight until we got the network connected up, so that Edgewood Road and Georgetown Road and Bay Ridge Road were all connected, and we were locked in step together. So insofar as all of that goes, I think we're moving forward. We want to hear your comments. The purpose of this presentation was for you to look and see what we've presented, and if you have questions, to write them down and send them in, or if you have comments, and then we'll try and get back to you on all those questions and share them with the city. I appreciate your taking the time to view this, and I appreciate your ability to think about the future and to see change that happens in Annapolis that can happen for the better. I guess one of the other things that we're going to do, which is kind of wonderful, is to remove that metal building that's sitting currently out on Bay Ridge Road, that's kind of not in context with anything else here. So I want to thank you again for coming, and I will take questions. Did you want to?
Is there anyone else from a community association?
I think you are it.
I'm it, okay. I have some comments. I mean, I'm very encouraged
Good.
by the changes that you've made, and some of the things that we have talked about in previous meetings that you're starting to find a way to incorporate them.
Sure.
I think, like you said, it will really have a campus feel. There'll be more unity, some of the things that you've done. So I'm representing the Annapolis Neck Peninsula Federation and the Bay Ridge Civic Association. We're the whole group of communities that's just beyond the Edgewood Road. So some preliminary concerns, and we'll put these in, and I think you're starting to address them, and we'll just look for these as you develop your site plans.
Okay.
One would be what we were talking about on the connection with the Bay Village Drive, and thrilled to hear that that's worked out. That was really key. Our communities are looking to any other development that comes down here, having interior roads, interior connections, instead of having everything going right directly out onto Bay Drive just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, okay, just the configuration, we would probably really wanna take a look at when you do the traffic study. I know that was just a preliminary one, but I know you have a requirement to do one for the city. When we look at that and we talk to the county, this intersection at Bay Ridge Road and Edgewood Road is a little inadequate at the moment, so there may be some improvements there because you will have some traffic generated
Sure.
coming in. There is a concern about supporting emergency medical services out here. At the moment, apparently we are supplemented by county EMS. And I think that our communities want to reach out to the county to see if there's any kind of need for compensation or analysis.
Well, you're going to have like almost $500,000 in taxes every year. Probably can
Have
use.
no idea, you know.
Can they probably use some of that to mitigate the EMS?
I think that's just a discussion that has to be had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm John Deegan. I'm the Executive Operations Officer of Bay Village here.
Uh-huh.
And one of the owners of Bay Village.
Okay.
Phase 1. And actually, with senior living, the EMSs are stressed more with folks living in the privacy of their own home. Because they're not able to access the services that they'll be able to access here on site. So when you have nurses and you have certified nursing assistants and when you have call buttons and you have things like that,
Right.
your first call is to us, not to the EMS. So folks that are at home, in their home, that they may be having episodes where they're falling down, they're on the floor, they're using those services continuously in the privacy of their own home. Whereas in our communities, they're able to access our staff. So that
No
that
doubt
sort of
it's
relieves,
different than
it sort of
200
relieves some of
individual
that.
calls, but
Right.
there will still be an increase. I
No,
mean,
no,
your
there's
focus
there
seniors,
is,
so.
but when you're in a senior living community, you hope to access the staff more than you would the actual EMS driver.
Understood.
You have wellness directors that
Understood.
will be able to address some of those issues.
Stormwater runoff, I think there's been a concern, I don't know who it's been.
Terry's
presented
here,
to.
but the stormwater management, I think I'll get you the report that we have on that. The stormwater capacity is all being handled in the pond.
So,
Quantity.
you know, Terry.
We're gonna do quality.
Okay.
on
We're
site.
gonna have to have a sit down and we talk specifics about that, where is he coming? Because I think there's some folks that are
Here,
concerned
Terry,
that the
I'll put my mask
current-
on and you can take yours off.
Current stormwater runoff is causing damage right now to Lake Ogleton and the receiving creek. I just got these comments this afternoon, so I think I would like to do a site
Sure.
walk with the gentleman
Sure.
that submitted this, and I think his concern is there's damage right now with this construction going on, and concern is continued degradation. So I would really like to walk that
Absolutely.
and understand
Yeah,
what
and
their
I-
concerns are.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My name is Terry Schumann,
Oh, right. Sorry.
engineer of record on this project with Bay Engineering. Yeah, understood, and I think the meeting would be good.
Yeah.
But I do want to just point out this site is still under construction.
Right.
Stormwater pond has not been converted yet. It's still acting as a sediment trap or sediment basin. So there's still things that need to be done to get it to the point where it needs to be at the end. Just from a stormwater standpoint, this site is going to rely on the pond for quantity, but it will be handling quality on site. So we have more features to provide with this
Do you wanna-
facility.
Talk about those or just a few?
It's early. I mean, we'll be talking about fire retentions,
Okay. What lead level are you guys going for?
minimum silver, because we have to from the code.
Okay, great.
Okay. I can get that information for you, ma'am,
Okay.
of who we're using here, and probably be the same
The
firm.
same. That's
So
great.
they've been great. They consulted with us all the way through construction.
And the last two are just, the communities want the opportunity to review and comment on the official traffic impact study.
Absolutely.
And the communities want the opportunity to review and comment on the site lighting and sidewalk plans,
No problem with that.
including along Forest Drive and the interior road.
Yeah, I think
With,
landscaping and everything else.
handicap
Yeah.
accessibility
Yeah.
concerns, because you will have,
Yeah.
I mean, the hope is, like you said, for people to come visit, walk, take their parents, get their prescriptions, walk over to Lidl, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the sidewalk part, at least along Bay Ridge, is gonna match in front of CV at 8 foot wide.
Uh-huh.
So it's not it's gonna be a wider sidewalk than exists today.
Okay,
I believe it's 8 feet for CVS. It's just a continuation. In front of
Okay.
Starbucks, I think. Actually, they may not have happened. Briggs supposed to do that, but ultimately there will be an 8 foot walk.
okay, good, good. And
So
then
we have
we'll
we have a
just-
complete lighting package with Brig that needs to go into the center median there.
Yep.
That'll probably carry over to this site as well.
Okay.
So it'll all coincide.
And
And
that's
lighting's
terrific.
gonna be a big thing with site design through the
Yes.
city. And, I mean,
Yes, so
Right.
we just wanna say.
Sure.
Okay, so that's,
yeah.
This is John Harrison.
Yeah. I'm sort of helping with permitting and preliminary development on this. I just want to make sure we cross all the i's on this. The property is zoned PM2, which is professional mixed. The only other property in the city that's zoned like this is the Safeway at the other end of Forest Drive. And to let you all know where we are in the process, we are amending that code to allow independent living, to allow this use. We've gone to Planning Commission. We had a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission. It goes to hearing at the City Council on Monday, and they don't meet in August because it's being Annapolis. Nothing much happens here in August. So we'll probably be into September by the time the city gets us our amended code, and then we'll start to submit for site design plan review. So there's ample time for community input throughout this, at least this preliminary part of the process. And we are videotaping this. It will go on the city's website, so people will have an opportunity to see this presentation, to hear your questions, and to provide additional comments. So there's ample time for community input on this.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying that because you've been involved in both these projects, I think.
just this one.
One of the things about GSX Ventures, I'm an architect and planner, so everything we develop is developed with a sensitivity to the community. We think everything needs to be a win-win, and as a result, we create better projects. And I think, as you'll see, number one is a pretty spectacular assisted living. It doesn't look anything like anything else you've seen around. And this project here will also be pretty spectacular, well landscaped, well thought out, and trying to create the architectural and vocabulary connection between the two and still keeping them separate because there is a certain sensitivity to still having independence when you're independent and not being assisted. So it's sort of connected but unconnected. I think we're going to create quite a little campus here, and it'll be great. And having Starbucks in the middle of it, it's sort of like having your own having your own student union and a little grocery store, right? So I think that could be fun.
And there is a request for using Zoom meetings. If this continues and we're going into the fall, there are many people that did not feel comfortable coming,
Right.
even with masks on and things, and they sent me emails asking for Zoom meetings.
Well, the
in future.
city was the one that told us we couldn't do it on Zoom.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
Well, we can find
If
something
we
else.
find something else
because-
out, we have the capability of doing that here.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I
we
know
have a
I'm on
Zoom
a
account-
task force at
We
the
have a
city
Zoom
Zooming.
account right here at Bay Village.
Yeah.
And if something in the future, we're willing to host it here at the
Yeah,
sales
I
center.
think there's a
Now,
lot
the
of
sales
people-
center won't be here long as we move over to the other building
Sure.
in the future, but we'll be able to do meetings in our building as well.
Okay.
And so, as long as they're,
We actually have a theater over there we could actually
Yeah.
do
I mean,
meetings
that
from.
sounds
So we'll
great,
be
and
able
you
to
know
do-
we
we'll
have
be
a
able
lot
to
of
access that
active
building as well.
communities
Well,
out
and
here.
please
so-
recognize that we had, we would
Oh,
have
no.
loved to have had an outdoor
Absolutely.
public meeting, but we weren't able to.
No, I totally
so, I mean,
understand. I just
Right.
wanted to
Yeah.
put that request,
No.
because that is a request.
we will meet your
Sure.
request.
To do that.
Yeah, I just want to say, we talked about that, and maybe it's Mia Maxima culpa. I thought that having a open house where small groups could come in and interact with us personally would be a good way to do it.
You know,
frankly.
in other circumstances it would, but you're a young guy, John. Not everybody in these communities feels comfortable even with a mask on, so
Right, okay,
I have, I'm representing.
okay.
I'm taking the chance, you guys all look okay.
We've met with y'all a few times, and
Right,
we're, of
right.
course, you know.
Oh, no, definitely, I
absolutely.
just
Yeah, absolutely.
wanted to
Yeah.
mention that.
And thanks for coming by. I appreciate
Sure.
your risking
Yeah.
life and limb to come out. So I think that's about it, guys. We're going to make that a wrap.